Have you ever been with someone and you start to not like them? Is that just a moment in time? Or is that like a thing? Like, does that, like, if you don't like them, this segment is for all you hoes that are in long-term relationships. That was my chimes for you. But yeah, I gotta ask, like, is it weird to not like your partner? Is that, if it goes on for a period of time, is that like a thing? Does that mean that you don't like them anymore? Or is it like a passing, like maybe you guys are just having a moment, you know? Like maybe you guys are just like not vibing. I'm not asking for myself, so mind your business. I'm just asking. Shout out to Nicki Minaj, who is said to have given birth to her and Mr. Petty's first child this Wednesday in Los Angeles. Now, at the moment, the baby's name and the sex has not been revealed, but Nicki's first announced that she and Kenneth were expecting in July, which seems like a long time ago, but really not that much. She released a few photos from her maternity shoot, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, and then I heard that like someone revealed that it was a girl. I don't know. Hey, did you guys hear that Ananda Lewis, you'll probably remember her best from her BET days. She never did 106 in Park, right? She just did Teen Summit? And then did she do anything else? Ananda Lewis was a vibe back in the day. She was a vibe. Like, the girls who were giving it up, like Chili, Ananda Lewis, Tatiana Ali, like that flavor girl, they were a vibe for a minute. They were a vibe. Well, she revealed this week that she is battling stage 3 breast cancer. She shared that in the past she refused to get mammograms and admit that that was a mistake. Especially because she had some genetic predispositioning to it. Her mom, who had been getting mammograms for years, later had breast cancer as well. Yeah, so, shout out to her. And if you are, I'm going to get my first one soon. I know it's really like a wild thing for women because there is a certain liberation. And, I just found out this week that my show, predominantly the listeners are men. But guys, go on this magical fallopian journey, this magical uterine journey with me, if you will. And I know that probably just made it worse for you, but come with me, if you will. Picture it. Sicily, 1922. But yeah, it's such a lot of people don't talk about this. And I know that we talk a lot about pop culture and yada, yada, yada here, but I am a woman of a particular age, honey. And so, there isn't a lot of people who are speaking to me right now, being a Black woman of a particular age, and I don't have kids, and I am kind of, dating and, professionally, like I'm back on the horse again. They talk about you getting on the horse for the first time, but nobody really talks about you getting on the horse again, because sometimes you do have to get on the horse again. Like in the immortal words of Donnie McClurkin, get back up again. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to. They talk about it for the first time, but they don't talk about it for the second time, doll. And that second time is hard. It's hard because now you are carrying the baggage of the first time and all the times that you have been burnt, honey. And the journey can be more difficult when you are not as buoyant. You're weighed down by life and things and people and situations and blah, blah, blah. So you have to, oftentimes I think that when you look at people who look aged, it's not about them wearing a particular style of garment or the hair or the whatever. They lack a buoyancy about them. And what I mean by that is a floatingness about them, a energy, a vibration that keeps them kind of not feeling like an anvil in the water, close your eyes and picture it. If you are 400 pounds, you can still float in the water, Floating in the water don't got nothing to do with how much you weigh, baby. It's about how much you trust. And I think that is sometimes what separates us, I know how old I am, and I know that there is, my situation. They don't make 41 in the same flavor that they used to. Now it's so multidimensional. And so therefore there isn't a lot speaking to that. But what I will say is, is that, there is a liberation that comes with that age. You know more, you feel freer, you hopefully are starting to regain a buoyancy about yourself as you kind of recircle. And for me, that didn't necessarily, I don't think that started at 40. That actually started for me in the 30s, where I started to, it felt heavy because I was going through a lot. But in hindsight, I can look at it now and see where the peeling was happening. So as I was feeling like the peeling was hurting me, what that was doing was making me lighter. You know what I'm saying? Like those peelings, those crazy things were making me lighter, were making me more buoyant. And sometimes the peelings just kind of fuck you up, But I say all this to say, and when we're talking about Ananda, is that, the freedom of that age comes also with a heaviness because your body is now also carrying those years. And, there's a scariness to that. You start to also, with the wiseness and that buoyancy, you also start to carry the burden of immortality or being mortal, and you realize how important time is. And it's such a craziness because you would wish that would come to you earlier so that you could really savor the juiciness of life, so to speak, like the feeling that I have now at this age. I wish I could have experienced the things that I experienced in the past with this same kind of vibration. But nonetheless, here we are. So what else happened this week that was news and noteworthy, honey? Yo. So quietly, H&M is planning on closing 250 stores in the next year. That was quiet. Even though H&M is closing hundreds of stores, it sounds like officials plan to put more focus in their online offerings. Now, I actually used to work for H&M. I hesitated to reveal that because this show might be a little engine that could now, but you know what I mean. But at any rate, I used to work for H&M, and they are a Swedish company, and they had a particular way of operating. Now, when I worked for them, it was really in the onslaught of them coming to the country. I think my store was number 4 or number 8 in the country. So, they hadn't really gotten too far yet. At any rate, they've always had a little bit of a gapping between their American offering versus what was available in their European market because of the way manufacturing and delivery and what have you worked. So it is of no surprise for me that they are going to focus on their online offerings. They've got costs, they've got home, they've got kids, they've got the the availability to the customer is far reaching in their online offerings. So more and more customers started shopping online during the pandemic, and they're making it clear that they value a convenient and inspiring experience in which stores and online interact and strengthen each other, said H&M CEO Helena Helmerson in a statement according to ABC News. Now, to ensure that our offerings are relevant to customers and improve availability in all channels, speed and flexibility will be even more important in the future, particularly in the supply chain. I think a lot of these organizations really have missed the mark on experience, and convenience. I think that their own self-importance is oftentimes and this is not in particular to H&M, but I'm just waxing poetic because, whatever. But, yeah, so 250 stores in this country. They didn't say whether it was global or just in the United States, but I would assume that the large lion's share of those closings will happen in the U.S. They are not the only ones. Ulta has closed many stores. Century 21 has closed. Lord & Taylor is closing. Neiman Marcus has closed many stores. I mean, it is funny because this has truly been a tale of two COVIDs. You know what I mean? Has it felt like that to you? It's definitely felt like that to me. What I mean by that is this has really been a tale of people either saying and life showing like everything is crumbling and everything is bad, or this has been a interesting time to see how things are thriving, even though, one of the interesting things to note is that more millionaires were made during the Great Depression than during any other time. I don't know if you know this, but there are certain segments of the housing market right now that are thriving in this pandemic. Low mortgage rates and, a shift for people working at home. The National Association of Realtors said that there is a secondary demand is coming from the work at home phenomenon, but the primary demand is really that there are mortgage rates that are extremely low right now. Now, the average, and this is some cloth talk for y'all. This is some grown folk talk. The average U.S. rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage has been under 3% since late July. When the Fed in March announced that they would purchase bonds, at that time, it was 3.65%. It was the kind of average 30-year fixed mortgage rate. Now, 30 years is normally the go-to for what people stretch their mortgage payments out to be. Existing home sales have jumped 25% since July. This is the highest sales that we've seen since 2006. The prior record for monthly gain was was 21% in June of